Hi, my name is Stacy Pitts, and I am the co-founder of CBD BioCare, interviewing our resident doctor, Dr. Frank, who is a chiropractor in Buffalo, New York. He's a functional medicine expert, and we could talk about all the other things that he's an expert in, just very diverse. And he's our go-to guy because he's an expert on CBD and most notably CBD BioCare. So good morning, Dr. Frank.
Good morning, Stacy.
I'm excited about the topic that we're going to discuss today, and that's skincare and how CBD is great topically as well as ingesting. So we're going to talk about some skin issues. We can talk about our anti-aging cream and why CBD would be infused in an anti-aging cream and how it could possibly help. But I think I want to start with why we would want to put something CBD in general topically, especially if we're trying to combat typical skin irritations like psoriasis, eczema, acne. How can CBD help people fighting those ailments?
Yeah, of course. So really excited to talk about today's topic, the skin being part of one of the largest organ systems in our body, the skin also having one of the most abundance of CB2 receptors, cannabinoid receptors. So our skin, being one of the largest organs in our body, also coincidentally has some of the most cannabinoid receptors found throughout our body. Now, obviously, that would imply that there's potential for CBD to be a benefit. Stacy, if people have been watching our other podcast, they're familiar with the fact that CBD has been shown to be a strong anti-inflammatory, right? We've said that over and over and over again. When we look at different conditions, we can talk about psoriasis first. We know that psoriasis is an autoimmune-driven condition, so an immune system problem that's predominantly driven by inflammation. CBD has been shown to be a strong anti-inflammatory. Now, that's both topically and taken orally. I can tell you here in Buffalo, being a chiropractor, one of the groups that I work with is a lot of people who suffer from something called psoriatic arthritis. This is where they will get the psoriatic rashes on their elbows, on their knees, but their joints will also be inflamed too from this autoimmune disease. They have had great success with using your products. Now, prior to the prebiotic spray, which we'll talk about in a little bit, we would actually just have them rub the oil onto the skin topically, and some patients would actually see the rash start to go away. Other patients would report at a minimum pain relief from that itching, relief from that burning sensation that's typically experienced with psoriasis. The other thing too, because this is an autoimmune-driven skin condition, we would also have them taking the oil orally to help calm down that systemic immune system response, that overactive immune system response. CBD, when taken orally, in the cases of those individuals, has been shown to act as an immune system depressant, so to kind of slow down that overactive immune system for the individual suffering.
I have a question. So my understanding is that psoriasis and eczema, maybe acne sometimes, right? But that it's the result of another issue. So if there's imbalance or inflammation or something going on internally, that it might show up as eczema or psoriasis, that it's not like you catch psoriasis or you catch eczema. It's a result of something going on internally, which makes sense why CBD would help calm the noise, which would also help calm the irritations. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. So there's two points to be said about that. So if we look at our traditional medical approach, textbook approach, what do we say about psoriasis and eczema? Well, there's not really a known cause, but we know that allergens might cause eczema. We know that chemical irritants might cause eczema. We know that stress, cold weather, things like that may bring about a psoriasis outbreak, we'll say, okay, an outbreak of these rashes. But we usually say from a traditional Western medicine standpoint, we don't fully know the cause. Maybe it's genetic. Now, when we speak from a functional medicine standpoint, where we kind of look at the body as a whole, we always say the skin is a reflection of what's going on the inside, right? We always say the skin is a reflection of what's going on with our health inside, especially when it comes to gut health. So one of the big things that we talk to people about when they're presenting with skin conditions, whether that's acne, psoriasis, or eczema, we want to know what's going on inside this person's gut. Is there inflammation going on due to certain foods that they're eating? For example, is gluten or dairy an underlying trigger or cause of this person's psoriasis or eczema outbreak? So yes, in the cases of someone else, is the psoriasis the result of some other autoimmune process, some other autoimmune disease? Is it stress? Is this person involved in a very toxic work environment, a very toxic relationship? And is that leading to these outbreaks, right? I can't tell you the amount of young kids that we've spoke to over the years from a functional medicine standpoint with acne who would tell us school, breaking up with the girlfriend or the boyfriend. They would say, listen, it's making my acne worse. I know stress is playing a role in this. And that's now been proven. It has to do with cortisol levels being imbalanced. One of the biggest things that I do want to talk about is that imbalance of healthy bacteria to bad bacteria. So in our gut, we have good bacteria. And these bacteria do good things. They help with detox. They help with our mental clarity. They help with our energy levels. And then there's bad bacteria in our gut too. And we want to try and keep a healthy balance between those two things. From an acne standpoint, from a psoriasis standpoint especially, we're always interested in having more good bacteria than we are bad bacteria. The same thing applies topically. People who are having major outbreaks of psoriasis or acne, that prebiotic spray that you guys have just recently rolled out, what an excellent thing, because not only are we getting the anti-inflammatory effects of the CBD, but now we're also providing nutrients for those good bacteria to thrive on from a topical point of view.
Well, it's really interesting because once again, our conversation, I love that we're talking about bacteria and how like the prebiotic spray can combat that. But the fact that you were just talking about these skin irritations that once again are the result of inflammation. It's I think a topic that we talk about every podcast that we do. And we've mentioned that inflammation is the root cause of most disorders and disease. And here we are once again talking about inflammation. It seems that if you can calm the inflammation, you're going to calm the side effects, and it's going to be a win-win. And CBD is an anti-inflammatory. It also helps calm your system and create balance, which sounds kind of kooky when we say that. So kind of explain how it does balance our system and put everything in check. So if you have diabetes, maybe it will help with your sugar levels. If you have, high blood pressure, it might help, not maybe get you off blood pressure medication, but help balance. So how does it balance our system?
Sure. I can use, let me give you a personal example. So growing up, I actually had horrendous acne when I was a child, really, really bad. They wanted to put me on Accutane, which is a pretty harsh acne medication. You have to go for regular liver testing. And at the time, if I look back, it's pretty confident I can say my system was out of whack. I was in high school, and all guys high school, as you could imagine, some stresses can come from that. At the same time, too, I had a horrible diet, right? I was drinking pop all the time. I think my breakfast was a toaster strudel and a Pop-Tart. So sugar, sugar, sugar all day long, right? And this is just kind of what I grew up with. It was accepted at this time that this was pretty standard for a kid in his teens to be eating. And I would tell my dermatologist, something's not right here. I really think sugar is the problem. At the time, they would say, no, there's not a chance. It's not the sugar. I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with it. So one time—
You're kidding me.
Oh,
They
no.
actually told you that.
Oh, yes, very much so. So we did an experiment, and I drank 6 root beers. And I did it right before my appointment with her, and they wanted to go in and actually do like a borderline surgical thing because the outbreak was so bad. And that confirmed for me that it was sugar. Eventually stuff got sorted out. Now let's talk about, we were talking about balancing the body and CBD, okay? So this is where I'm going with this.
Yeah, no, I love that you did your own experiment, you know, and you were practicing even before you had your degree.
Oh, way before. I knew that it was just so obvious because anytime I would eat chocolate or drink root beer with my friends, my face would break out 24 to 48 hours later. That still happens. I stopped eating sugar a long time ago for the most part because it's out of vanity. I just didn't like my face breaking out anymore. And what do you know? It turned out to be a healthy decision in the long run. But
Wow.
here's what happens. When we eat a lot of sugar, it's going to create a spike in our blood sugar levels, in our insulin levels. That can eventually impact our cortisol levels. So now we're talking about all types of hormonal imbalances. We see this a lot in females who are suffering from acne, either younger females or postmenopausal females, especially when it comes to dairy products. This creation of hormonal imbalances occurs. When we talk about CBD, one of the things that it's been shown to do is it's been shown to help balance hormone levels. So this is interesting to me from the standpoint of the young kid who's going through changes as he's becoming an adult, who's going through these hormonal fluctuations, or someone, most classic, I could think of a postmenopausal female who's having issues, skin issues and things along those lines due to changes in estrogen levels. So if we can take CBD and it helps to create balance in our hormones, that in turn might create balance in our skin. If someone has problems with blood sugar levels, or if they are just that type A person and they are always stressed and they're running really high on cortisol all the time, that stress hormone. If CBD can help to reduce some of that stress and they believe that that stress leads to acne, wow, what a great thing. If we can balance the stress, maybe that's going to have an impact on our skin health. I said this in our live just last night. Remember, CBD works like this, and this was ultimately your question. Our body makes its own endocannabinoids. As we go throughout changes in life, especially as we age, they're finding if we've had trauma and autoimmune disease, these people seem to have less levels of their own cannabinoids present. When we take CBD oil, it helps our body produce more of its own cannabinoids naturally. So that's how it creates balance. Those cannabinoids then regulate our endocannabinoid system.
That's fantastic information. I love hearing that because it really ties back to that whole holistic approach that we talk about and how really it's all related. It's not really separate. But the other thing I was thinking about when you were talking is the absorption rate. We talk about the bioavailability when CBD is taken orally under the tongue, sublingually, but what is the absorption topically?
Oh, that's a great question. So, okay, when we're talking about just rubbing it on, it's actually negligible. Most things would say the absorption into the bloodstream is negligible, okay? So I have a lot of people who ask, I get drug tested, should I be concerned about using a topical? And I can confidently say to them, no, I have no concerns about that because there should not be a detectable amount making it to the blood. The absorption is going to be on that superficial layer of the skin, though that first layer. It binds to the very superficial CB cannabinoid receptors, but it does not go much farther than that when we're using it topically. Now, if someone is using a transdermal patch, so a transdermal, like we would think of a Nicorette patch or a nicotine patch, that is a different story. That absorbs into the blood. That's a whole different story. But just using it topically, very, very superficial absorption onto those cannabinoid receptors, but it won't actually make it to the bloodstream. That's why for people who do have an autoimmune-driven psoriasis or maybe they have really bad eczema that they can't get under control, we'll recommend the oral solution too.
Right. So that's why it's both, not one or the other. And the other thing is, just to be clear, anybody watching this, Dr. Frank mentioned a drug test. Our product, we remove the THC. So even if you're ingesting it, you're not going to fail drug tests. You have to have 25 milligrams of THC as a minimum in your system to fail a standard drug test. But again, drug testing is not, I mean, if you're being tested for CBD, you would test positive. But I don't even know of a test that does that. But just wanted to make that clear. But it's really interesting that it's used in conjunction. Now, if someone has, I've worked with people who've come in my office who had psoriasis over a large part of their body. Obviously, it would be costly to put oil over your entire arm if that's where the outbreak is. If it's just a little bit on your elbows, like you said, is very common. You could put a little oil there and test it and see how that works. But we do have other products that people have talked about really helping. Obviously, the prebiotic spray. Also, some of our topical pain relief creams have been helpful because they have CBD, but they also have some other ingredients, emu oil, arnica, boswellia, some of these other products that can help with topical pain, because sometimes eczema or psoriasis is actually painful topically. So that might be an option as well. You'd want to test it. There are some products that we have that do have menthol. Depends on which one you're using. So you want to make sure that it's not going to burn. But my husband uses that, and because he occasionally gets outbreaks of eczema, and he doesn't have any problem. If he catches an eczema outbreak early and like on his foot, because wherever it rubs, and he puts a little bit of oil there, he can prevent it from getting out of control. If he misses it, then it's kind of too late, and then he might actually need an antibiotic. So you kind of learn by using the product how it works for you. Topically, I don't really use it, except if I get a little cold sore outbreak.
Sure.
But truth be told, since I've been taking CBD, I don't even get cold sores anymore. I mean, they just don't happen. Every once in a blue moon, I might get a little, I'm like, oh, that kind of feels like it might be a cold sore. I put a little CBD on it, and it never ever appears. I mean, I literally haven't had a cold sore since I've been taking it. So it's really interesting how it can work topically, how it can work internally, to really just be a win-win for our systems. I mean, I always tell people, you may not be in pain, you may not have anxiety, you may not have problems sleeping. I mean, God bless you if you don't have any of these issues.
Yeah.
But CBD, just like vitamin C, is still good for you because we all have inflammation. And I mean, you can't avoid some inflammation. So it's just a good supplement to take, even if you don't have some of these issues.
Yeah, it's worked its way very quickly into our regimen of, right, multivitamin, probiotics, Buffalo, New York, so vitamin D, and then CBD, right? It just has, because of the benefits we've seen people have with it. I mean, it's been pretty undeniable in our offices now, going on, I think, close to 3 years with you guys. So
Yeah, it's cool.
it's really been a great experience. And Stacey, you said something else too that's so important. It's part of that bigger picture thing, right? I said this in a live, and it's one of my favorite things to tell patients. Okay, you're working on acne, you're working on psoriasis. Can you start to look at your nutrition and change your nutrition? Can you start to do light exercises? There are other healthy lifestyle modifications that go hand in hand with CBD. CBD is that it can kickstart so many things for people. I see it happen all the time. So I just tell people, take full advantage of the potential that you have to get, on your path to healing here, whatever that path may look like.
Absolutely. Now let's turn our focus to vanity.
Of course.
And focus on our anti-aging cream. As a woman over 40, I care about what I'm putting on my skin. An anti-aging cream. We have two lines. We have an anti-aging cream, CBD Bio Skincare, and that has FDA approved ingredients which means, for our sake, proven ingredients to do what we say they do. Helps reduce fine lines and wrinkles, yada, yada, right? Typical anti-aging product. It's not an FDA approved product, but it has FDA approved ingredients. It was an FDA approved line. When we added CBD, that FDA approval went away. But what's important for you to know are those ingredients have been proven to do what we say they do. You add CBD, now you have another antioxidant and you have an anti-inflammatory, which is great for skincare, right? We also offer an all-natural line, which has all natural ingredients. So people that are really sensitive to that, you know that you have an anti-aging line with all natural ingredients. So to me, CBD topically in a skincare line, if you're boosting the ability as an antioxidant, as a moisturizer, and as an anti-inflammatory, it's a win-win.
It really is. And we've talked about this in all our podcasts. So it's very accepted now that what ages us? If we say what ages us as people, the answer across the board that you're going to hear is oxidation. Okay. So we explain this like we explain rust on a car or a banana that starts to turn a discoloration. So an oxidation reaction occurs, and this is what causes that rusting or that discoloration of things. The same type of stuff happens to our skin just by being alive and walking around and living day to day, these oxidation reactions. When you use an antioxidant, it fights the free radicals, the bad things that cause oxidation to occur. Wrinkles, things along those lines, they blame those on oxidation reactions. If we can apply a topical antioxidant in combination with an apple stem cell cream or some of these other amazing FDA improved ingredients, yes, that should help with that anti-aging process. That should help keep people looking younger for a longer period of time. Now, Stacey, I can tell you this, in my offices, it's something we're getting into because skincare is becoming so important and so popular. As you know, it's not something we've done a lot with yet, but I'll tell you this. Sometimes people go on my website and they buy the CBD oil as per my recommendation. I'll see they also purchase the under eye cream, a retinol cream, a skincare cream, and I can tell you these are repeat purchases that we've seen from people in the past. So what does that tell me? Obviously, my patients are very, very satisfied with your skincare line, and I didn't even talk to them about it. So it's really a fantastic thing.
You know, it's one of those things that we have it on our site. We don't really talk about it enough, I think, because
I
our
agree.
focus is always on the oil and what it's doing for people from a health and wellness perspective. But you know, it is important to talk about your skin. If you're not concerned about wrinkles, it's still good in terms of just taking care of your skin. You know, it just really is, as you mentioned, it is our largest organ. It is something that we should still be paying attention to, because if for nothing else, if you're not concerned about moisturizing, if you're not concerned about it from an anti-inflammatory aging perspective, being an antioxidant and actually protecting your skin from the environment is a good thing.
Absolutely. We are exposed to so many different environmental allergens and toxins throughout the day. You can go online and read about that environmental toxic load that we're just exposed to as people. Why would you not want that extra layer of protection? Which reminds me, sunburns. I have had so many people have a sunburn and utilize either the pain cream or even the oil. Have you heard about that before
Oh
from your?
yeah, absolutely. And I've had people use the pain cream, but we've also had people use our skincare. So if they get, you know, the apple stem cell, for example, if they have a sunburn, it can absolutely be used topically for burns. And we have products with retinol that can actually help with age spots, which would be the result of sun damage.
Very
So the skincare line is really amazing. Again, I don't think we give it as much play as it deserves. But yes, absolutely for sunburns, you know, here in Florida, we hear that all the time.
Right. I'm in Buffalo, so it's not that often. It's only when people go to Florida during winter and they come back and they say, "Oh, Dr. Frank, can't adjust me. My skin's on fire." But no, really, we've heard great things about that. And I agree with you. I'm sure over the next few weeks, we'll do a skincare podcast where we're focused on those products, because at this point, and that's one of the fastest growing industries. You know, if you the stock markets don't lie, right? There's a reason why people are investing in and looking at CBD being used in skincare so successfully. And if you look at any of the projections and companies and things like that, they're saying this is not a fad. This is the real deal. This is the real deal. So
absolutely. My regimen is I use our all natural scrub, which has literally ground pumice stone and apricot seeds to give you a little bit of roughage. So I use it about 3 times a week. It's safe enough to use daily, but it's a great exfoliator. It also moisturizes. Then I use my under eye cream, and I use the apple stem cell. I like the apple stem cell personally because it's a little bit thicker. And I really like knowing that I have something on my face, and especially in the morning and at night, I just like that it's a little bit thicker. And so I am the biggest fan of our apple stem cell cream. And so that's what I use. If you like a lighter cream, more of a whipped light consistency, you would want to try out our AMPM or our collagen retinol. But all really great skincare. I love our skincare line, our all natural line. Our ageless cream has a hint of lavender if you like a scent. Our other items are not scented, but we'll definitely talk more about these, and we'll have videos for our products coming soon. So, you know, I'm in love with our products. I love talking to you, Dr. Frank, and really understanding the medicinal value. And hopefully we're able to help people today with this video, especially those people fighting these uncomfortable, sometimes just atrocious skin conditions that can just be so painful, uncomfortable, and unsightly. And, you know, so I hope it can help people that are dealing with these.
it's so important. You know, it's very sad. I know even when I had the horrible acne and stuff, it ruins so many aspects of things. So many social aspects of my life were damaged by it, right? You don't want to go to that prom. You don't want to go to work with your coworkers. There's so many things that can be impacted by skin conditions. Anyone listening that is suffering, I would say, listen, absolutely give this a shot. It's safe. It's worth giving a shot because the chances of it working based on feedback that we get and based on that we're seeing in the literature are pretty good. And like anything, Stacey, I'd like to end with this. How much should I take if someone's taking it orally? It's like anything. I told people last night in our offices, we start most people around 20 milligrams a day. Okay. I'm talking about adults. 1 time a day in the morning, we start them around 20 milligrams. And then we're usually increasing or decreasing from there to start, okay? Just pay attention to your symptoms. Pay attention to the rash. Pay attention to the energy levels. Pay attention to your sleep. Pay attention to the headaches. Anything you have going on, monitor it and see how you're doing, and watch our video on dosage. But yeah, 20 milligrams is a good starting point.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Frank. If you have watched this video and you still have questions, just give us a call or email us, and we'll make sure you can connect with Dr. Frank as well. Thank you. Have a great day.
Anytime.